Wonderful. Thank God. We're learning Likutei Moharan, Torah Mem Vav, 46 in Likutei Moharan. Rabbeinu is coming to explain to us, to open our eyes, to understand the difference between serving Hashem Yitbarach with your moach, with your brain, with your sechel, to serve Hashem Yitbarach with faith. When Am Yisrael saw miracles, revealed miracles, when they went out of Egypt, so they saw Hashem. Eye to eye, they saw the amazing, wonderful, great miracles that God made just for them, changed the rules of creation and the powers of nature. And He just revealed the fact that He's the Creator, that His hands are inside the creation, that He's on top of every detail, that a fish cannot breathe without God deciding that He's going to breathe and swim and move. And that no one can move his finger unless HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying. So they saw that. But they saw it with the eyes of Sechel, with their wisdom. This is why when they came to tests, they failed. This is why when there were lack of water, they didn't know what to do with themselves. Because they knew, oh, God can give us the water. Now where's the water? Something is wrong. Why? Because they were not serving Hashem Yitbarach with faith. They were serving Hashem Yitbarach with their wisdom. The wisdom is something that can reach the heights. They saw even the smallest woman that was walking in the camp of Israel, higher level of visions and prophecies than Yechezkel ben Buzi, the prophet that was the second one after Moshe Rabbeinu in his level of prophecy. And she saw more than him, means that she was almost in the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. And they saw amazing things, incredible miracles. ויפתחו השמיים ויראו מראות אלוקים. The sky had been opened and they saw godliness, they saw divine visions, they saw amazing things that no one can understand what people saw over there. But in the time of difficulty, in the time of test, it didn't help them. In those times of darkness, only the faith is in the nights. Only the faith can be that candle, that torch that's going to illuminate the darkness in the thickest darkness of them all, in the valley of death. In those moments, you can only count on Hashem because you cannot see Him, because the light is not penetrating into those places. So this is why you're not able to grab Hashem Yitbarach with your brain. So if you used to believe or to serve Hashem Yitbarach with your brain, with your wisdom, you're not going to be able to follow Him forever. There are going to be moments in life that in those moments you're going to stand and you're going to say, something is wrong. And then you're going to curse and then you're going to be angry and you're going to be frustrated. Only because you were not establishing your avodah, your way of serving Hashem Yitbarach on faith. Faith is the only tool that a person have in his life, that with that tool you can serve Hashem Yitbarach forever, 100% of your time. With no barriers, nothing gonna stop you, nothing gonna hold you back. Why? Because always you're gonna believe that Hashem Yitbarach is there. Even that I cannot see Him? Yes, exactly. Who needs to see Him? When you know Him. Who needs to see? When you believe. When you believe, you have the 100% potential to be close to Hashem Yitbarach in every situation in life. And this is the message of Rabbeinu HaKadosh that is trying to bring us. Trying to wake us up to understand that the connection with God, even though that Rabbeinu is bringing examples from Kabbalah, from Zohar, from Midrashim, from amazing Gemarot, from righteous people, life stories and examples from life, and with these amazing tales that are impossible to grab, such high wisdom and so amazing and beautiful and kind and sweet. After all of that, Rabbeinu is saying, listen, you need to learn how to throw away your wisdoms. You need to serve. Main Judaism is to serve Hashem betmimut u'pshitut, just to follow Him with your heart, just to throw all of your wisdom, all of what that you assumed, what that you figure out, what that you thought, you need to drop all of that. You need to wake up in the morning and to know that God woke you up. When you go to sleep, you need to know that only Hashem Yitbarach is going to wake you up tomorrow morning. Only Him, only the one that you believe in. He is the one that is with you day and night, in the middle of the nights, in the darkest hours. This is the light of Rabbeinu HaKadosh, that Rabbeinu is revealing for us the faith. And the faith is in the nights. And we need to prepare ourselves to that and not to be afraid from the darkness. Not to be afraid from the darkness, because the pearls are in the depths of the water, of the sea. And the gold is in the gold mines, in the bottom of the filth and the coals and the darkness and the mud and under the rocks and the stones. And in the most dangerous places of them all, over there you're going to find what that you were desiring. And the house of Hashem Yitbarach, the temple, is in Jerusalem, that holy mountain. And in that place that is surrounded with enemies and nations that are trying to, everyone are fighting on that tiny piece of land in the size of Jersey. And everyone are fighting, everyone are fighting. What's going on? What's the purpose? What's the use? You don't understand. There is a spark over there. That spark is your connection to infinity. And that spark is something that sometimes you cannot see. Sometimes you cannot understand. Hey, Ribono Shel Olam, what is that thing with Eretz Yisrael? What? You cannot take it with your brain. You cannot understand Eretz Yisrael with your brain. You cannot. You walk in Monsey, you walk in Manhattan, you walk in the famous, in the most richest neighborhoods in the world. You don't understand what Israel? What, Jerusalem? What, Rechavia? What are you talking about? What's Rechavia compared to other amazing cities in the world? It's not like with your sechel, with your eyes, with your brain, you cannot get it, you cannot understand. Only with your faith, only with your soul, you can sense that something else is something different here. Something smells better, something is special, is unique here. Something that you cannot explain. Something happened in Friday afternoon that you cannot feel, that you cannot sense in any other place. It's not in the sun, it's not in the moon, it's not in the clouds, it's not in the sky, it's not in the grass, not in the trees, not in the amazing stone buildings, houses with Jerusalem stone. It's not that. It's beyond that. It's very far from that. It's inside your soul. It's something that you need to believe in. And that's the only way to love Eretz Yisrael. You don't love Eretz Yisrael because of the lines for the banks and because of the city hall and the traffic and to open a bank account. Not because of that. Not because of the government or the IDF. That's not the reason to come here. Social security. No, it's not the reason. The only reason is that you have faith, solid faith. And that faith is that candle that is illuminating the path of your life. That's the only way. That's the only way that you can really connect yourself to Hashem Yitbarach. Because in the time of tests, you will not gonna be able to see the whole picture. You just need to believe that it's there. This is why a person, when he's falling, when he's crashing, when he's finding himself losing control, losing his ability to function according to the basic rules of Judaism, to wake up in the morning, to put tefillin, to say Shema, to say brachot on food, he is falling from everything that God is guiding us that we need to do. He finds himself falling and crashing and losing control and failing from the most basic halachot. So in that moment, what you feel when you try to grab that picture with your sechel, with your brain, you say, hey, I messed up. I ruined. I done something wrong. But when we saw that Avraham Avinu failed, and Avraham Avinu was questioning on Hashem Yitbarach revealed himself to Avraham. He shown himself to him Bekel Shaddai, in the name of Kel Shaddai. And Avraham Avinu saw Hashem Yitbarach, and he was talking to Hashem Yitbarach, and he heard the voice of Hashem Yitbarach, and Hashem promised to him, I'm going to give you the Holy Land, Lecha Eten et Eretz Canaan. I'm going to give you the land of Israel, it's going to be yours. And then Avraham Avinu is questioning on that. He heard the voice of Hashem. It's like Adam HaRishon. He failed, big time, he saw the truth. Hashem told him, I'm giving it to you, here's the keys. And he's saying, hey, how am I going to know that those keys are going to work? What are you doing? Why are you failing like that? But he did. He failed. He asked, how am I going to know that I'm going to inherit the land, that you're really going to give it to me? Hey, just said it. It's not enough for you? For Abraham Avinu it was not enough. Yes, Abraham failed. And what's the answer of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What Hashem is saying to Abraham, now I'm going to tell you that all of your children, all of your family, your grandchildren, they're all going to go to Egypt for 400 years. They're going to be tortured over there. They're going to die, going to be murdered, going to be raped over there, going to suffer over there. And after 400 years, then you're going to receive the keys. Don't worry. That's on me. If I would be Abraham Avinu, I would shoot myself in the head. That's the truth, really. If I would stand in that test, what? Now listen to that voice of Hashem. Now all of your children, we're talking about millions of people, going to go through the holocaust just because of you. Your baby's going to be thrown to the Nile, going to be eaten by the crocodiles, by the animals. Your women over there, all of your granddaughters, going to be raped by the Egyptians. The men going to suffer, going to be killed, going to be punished, going to suffer, going to be tortured for years, 400 years. Because of what? My mistake. Me? I'm killing myself in that day. I'm shooting myself in there. I'm not able to deal with it. If Abraham Avinu would fail like that, I would fail. It would be written in the Torah. But it doesn't written that Abraham Avinu went to buy a bottle of vodka. It doesn't written that Abraham Avinu decided to jump from the highest cliff of the... No. It's written that Abraham Avinu went and done tshuva, and that Abraham Avinu went to make the Brit Ben HaBetarim, and he sacrificed sacrifices, and he tried to cancel and to sweeten the judgments from Am Yisrael, that the decree will not get... He didn't fail to know despair, to know sadness. He just kept on serving Hashem Yitbarach because he realized that, okay, that's what needs to be done. He didn't try to see with his eyes, hey, what's going to happen? He realized that mistake brought him to the first failure. So why to keep on falling with that desire to see the picture, to have evidence for everything in life? He realized that attitude, that way of thinking brought him to that disaster already. So why to continue with that? It's going to be an act of arrogance to say, no, so you know what? So if not, what are you doing? Avraham Avinu was humble enough, thank God, to accept that decree and to accept his mistake with patience, with faith, to understand that Hashem Yitbarach is with him. And then what happened? Tardema, darkness fell on Avraham. Darkness, that's the night, that's the faith. The faith is in the nights. When he couldn't see anymore with his eyes, it was the biggest message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why you try to see? Why you try to have evidence for everything? Hey, but what's going to be my payroll? How much you're going to pay? How much I'm going to have? And what's going to be my... Relax. By questioning all of the time, you're revealing your lack of faith. If all of those fears are waking up inside of you, that's great. Go work on yourself. Go to the fields. Go to Hashem. Go do tshuva. When you have those questions, it doesn't mean that you need to fight and to find evidence. Go with those questions and question on yourself and go to Hashem and tell him, Hashem, thank you for revealing to me that I'm so far from faith. That I'm not counting on you, Hashem, that you are Zanu Farnes Lakol, that you're supporting me, that I forgot all of the miracles that you gave me. In the faith issue, in those situations when a person is trying to go with faith, so he's standing in a test on daily basis. Let's say that you saw something. If I know now what's the address of the center. Okay, I know the address is Ben Labrat 9. Great, wonderful. I know that's the address. I want to come to this. I know it with my mind. I'm not gonna have to check every day what's the address of the center because I know that the address is Ben Labrat 9. That's it. I know I'm gonna get there. Why? Because I know it. But if I know today that Hashem, He will give me my parnasa. Why? Because yesterday I really saw a miracle. I was stuck without $300 and suddenly a person came to me and he said, hey, you know, we're trying to help families and he'll take $300. And so I saw Hashem. The truth is that it's not going to help me today. If today I'm going to need to have another $300, the last $300 will not going to help me for today. Today is a new test. Last month you saw miracles in parnasa. It's not going to help you for next month. What will help you? Only the will. If you know and you grab something with your wisdom, if you learn something in math, you know how to calculate some things. If you learn the language, you know the way for the center, you know the address. You grab something with your mind, you know that it's summer, you know that it's Eretz Israel. Nothing gonna erase it from your memory. That's it. It's inside forever. If you bought something with your wisdom, it's there forever. But with faith got a different nature. Faith, every time that the sun is coming, you lose the faith, you lose the darkness. Every time that you grab something with your wisdom, with your eyes of wisdom, with your sechel, with your brain, with your mind, in that moment you lost your faith. Because when you try to grab Hashem and to understand Hashem and to follow Hashem with your wisdom, in that moment you chose not to serve Hashem Yitbarach in faith. So this is why you lost your faith. So only if you're going to choose darkness, choose to serve Hashem in the night, to count on Hashem Yitbarach, no matter what's going to happen, that's the only thing, the only guarantee that can save you from failing and losing Hashem Yitbarach forever. Because the one that counts on Hashem Yitbarach, kindness is going to surround him. Kindness is going to help him and going to support him and going to give him, reveal to him the mercy and the kindness of Hashem Yitbarach. Only your trust in Hashem, only your confidence in Hashem, only hours on hours of prayers and tears to Hashem Yitbarach, adricheni ba'amitecha, guide me in your path of truth. I don't want to know, I want to believe. I want to follow you no matter what. I don't want to succeed. I want to be able to remember you for another day of my life. When you have that attitude, when your will is only to be close to Hashem, kirvat Elokim li tov, you just want to be close to Him and you don't care what's going to be the results. Lamavet totzaot, the results are coming after death. I couldn't care less what's going to be the results. I just want to be close to you. And if Hashem going to tell you in the world to come, that's it, I don't want you to be with me in the world to come, what you going to do then? What you going to do then? You need to have the ability to tell Hashem Yitbarach, okay, but I want to be with you. I'm following you. You need that your heart going to be aimed to Hashem Yitbarach and to be ready to go into the valley of death. And I'm not telling you that it's a scary their journey and it can be very hard. Reality is showing you that. Life is showing you that you have daily tests. Every morning. Chadashot lebkarim rabba emunatecha, news every morning to increase your faith. Why God is testing you in faith again and again and again and again? Just because that He wants to give you more. Just because that in spirituality there are no limitations. In what that your eye can see, even though that your eyes are very powerful, very complex, very, very wide, it's amazing program that Hashem made in nature. Still, there is a certain amount of frames, of inches, of centimeters, of weight, of details that the eye can grab. Certain amount. It's a gigantic amount. It's an incredible amount. But there is an amount for your eye to see. But to your soul, there is no limit. So when you choose to serve Hashem Yitbarach in faith, and God is saying, Eved Ne'eman karata lo, you're a loyal slave, then He's going to show you divine things. Then He's going to take you to infinity. He's going to take you to places that are beyond the reach of the most sophisticated eye, of the purest heart, of the most amazing genius brain that can be found. He can bring you to see things beyond the world, like that He took Avraham Avinu and He took him above the stars, above the sky, above everything that is inside and included in nature, and He took him to see that God is running those systems, and that's it. And now you don't have no systems anymore. When you're with Hashem Yitbarach, so there's no rules, there are no systems over there in that moment. If the Gemara is telling you and the Torah is telling you, listen, you need to serve Hashem, you need to keep Torah mitzvot, you need to follow the rules, you have Taryag mitzvot, and you have more thousands of the Rabbanan rules that you need to follow. Great. And from the other side, you see that the Gemara is saying to you, Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak said, Gdola avera lishma mimitzvah shelo lishma, that to sin for Hashem Yitbarach is greater than to keep mitzvah and not for Hashem Yitbarach. What's going on? What you just said? That to sin when your heart is aimed to heaven is something greater than to keep Torah and mitzvot shelo lishma? How can it be? The Torah is telling you that if you're going to serve Hashem Yitbarach Shelo Lishma, not really for the highest reason of them all, just to honor Hashem, just because you love Hashem, just because you like it, it's going to bring you to better places. Mitoch Shelo Lishma Yavo Lishma. It's going to bring you to higher levels. So how can you tell me now that if I'm sinning in a way that I'm thinking that I'm doing the right thing, suddenly going to have good results for that? All of the methods, all of the shita, all of the way is to tell you that if you're keeping Torah mitzvot, that's great. And even if you're not doing it in the best way, still it's going to bring you to the purpose. And suddenly there is something that is contradicting that and tells you that if you failed, that if you sinned, but your heart was aimed to Hashem Yitbarach, so then it's even greater than keeping Torah mitzvot. How can it be? That's the wisdom that only a person that have a heart to Hashem Yitbarach can understand. Only a person like Moshe Rabbeinu, that when he is facing death, when he is facing destruction of Am Yisrael, he can take the decision to break the holy tablets. To take the holy tablets, the first Bible that had been written by Hashem Yitbarach. Hashem himself wrote those tablets with his hand, with Etzba Elokim, with his godly finger. With his divine finger that we cannot understand. He wrote those words, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Lo Yeh Lecha Elokim Acharim Al Panai, and all of the 10 holy commandments. He wrote them. He created that stone. He handed it to Moshe. Moshe takes a decision to break it to the ground, to throw it. Moshe, what's going on? How can he take that decision? Who is that rabbi that's going to take that wild, crazy decision? Only a rabbi that feels inside of his heart that he understands the inner will of Hashem. Something that is written between the lines. Because inside the lines, you are never going to see that. There is no commandment to burn the Sefer Torah, to break the holy tablets. It will never going to be written. No one allowed to write something like that. But Hashem Yitbarach, after the fact, is saying to Moshe Rabbeinu, Yeshar kochacha sheshivarta. I praise you for what that you've done. You've done the right thing. You saved Am Yisrael. You honored me. You respected me. You read between the lines. You found my real inner intention. A person like that is a person that he doesn't care. He couldn't care less if he's going to lose his world to come or not going to lose the world to come. The evidence for that is that Hashem Yitbarach is saying to Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm going to destroy them, Am Yisrael. Hashem is saying, Moshe Rabbeinu is answering Hashem. Tell him, first of all, erase me from the book that you wrote. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't care about his world to come. He's saying to Hashem Yitbarach, listen, okay, no problem. First of all, erase me. I'm going to be the first one to go. I don't have anything to do here without my brothers. I don't care about my world to come. Who needs the world to come? Who is serving you for the world to come, for the reward? Who cares about that? We're doing things for you, and now you're contradicting yourself? Moshe Rabbeinu is able to say to Hashem Yitbarach, you're wrong. This is not what that you told me. This is not your guiding. This is not what that you told me before. Before you told me that you love your nation. Now you tell me you want to kill them? No. No way. No way. Moshe Rabbeinu is a person that is following his inner heart, his soul. He understands the will of Hashem Yitbarach, and he's going all the way with that. Not with the words of Hashem Yitbarach, with the heart of Hashem Yitbarach, with the will of Hashem Yitbarach. Leaders like those we need. Leaders that can lead Am Yisrael. Leaders that care about Am Yisrael. Leaders that care about Hashem Yitbarach. Not about the rules that have been written in the Torah. Not about the halachot that are written in the Shulchan Aruch. Leaders that are able to throw themselves to the fire, to protect the nation, to be the sacrifice or korban tamid. That they're able to say to Hashem Yitbarach, Ki alecha oragnu kol hayom. We're ready to die for you every moment of our lives. We don't care. Keeping the halakha, not keeping the halakha, keeping Shabbat, not keeping Shabbat, looking at the eyes of the person and understanding there is a human being over there. Beyond the rules of the halakha, beyond the rules and the system of the guidings and the mitzvot, the obligations that have been written and been given to us in Mount Sinai. That you can understand that et lasot l'Hashem eferu toratecha. Sometimes you need to do things for Hashem Yitbarach. It means that sometimes you need to violate the rules for Hashem Yitbarach. When it's time to do for Hashem, sometimes you need to violate the rules. It's the last Mishnah in Masechet Brachot that God gave us, that had been given to us by the Chachamim, that told us, that revealed to us, that beyond all of the rules, al kol peshaim techaseh ahava, on all of the crimes, on all of the mistakes, on all of the sins, the love gonna cover, the love gonna heal it all. God, He loves you. He wants to be close to you. He wants you to succeed. He wants you to grow. If you grew up in some foreign land, if you grew up in the darkness, if you came out of hell, there is no way in the world that you will be able to function according to the rules of the halakha, to the system. You cannot be Haredi in two years of tshuva. You cannot become to be a righteous man after 5 years of tshuva. You're not able to do those things. Tzaddik Atamar Ifrach, to a righteous man to become to be like the palm tree, it's going to take him 60, 70 years until he's going to achieve perfection in Avodat Hashem, really to be complete. How many years you need to struggle with your old habits, with the way that your body is regular to function, to wake up late and to eat like crazy and to relax yourself in wild, crazy ways, like driving fast and hearing loud and very fast music and crazy beats and drinking alcohol and doing drugs and eating meat and dairy and mixing them all and doing crazy things. And how much time you think that it's going to take your machine to come back to function after making it so used to the craziness, to the wild life that you lived before the tshuva? It takes a long time. Hashem Yitbarach, and Hashem Yitbarach Hu Yada Yitzrenu. He knows your desires. He knows your limitations. He understands the difficulties that you're going through. The only one that needs to wake up here, it's you. It's us, to understand Hashem loves you. He's not expecting you to be that person that you think that you're supposed to be. No, why I cannot be like him? Oh, why I cannot? Because you just cannot. Because you haven't made to be that person. An elephant gonna chase himself, why I cannot be a cow? And the donkey gonna hate himself that he's not a horse? And the cheetah gonna decide to kill herself because it's not a lion? It's a sick world. It's a sick world. If you're a lion, you have a purpose to be a lion. You're a lion? Great, I'm happy for you that you're a lion. I'm a pathetic zebra. That's who that I am. I'm a tiny kangaroo. I'm a porcupine. I'm walking in the night in front of the grave of David HaMelech in the old city. That's who that I am. What do you want from me? One can be a mice, one can be an ant. You know, an ant is the animal that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose to bring the most units of it to the world. He created the biggest amount of creations from one kind, species, it's an ant. So now you're going to say, no, ant, I'm an ant, no, I'm not important. Maybe you're the most important. Maybe you're the one that makes Hashem Yitbarach the most happy. You don't know. When David HaMelech asked Hashem, do you have a creation that praises you more than I? Hashem Yitbarach shown him a frog that is singing in 1,000 voices every time it opened his mouth. And David HaMelech was so humiliated, like, I'm never going to be able to sing like that. Yes, before you understand the greatness and the depths of the creation, what Hashem Yitbarach is doing with one butterfly that flies from one point to the other, you cannot understand Hashem. Rabbi Nachman of Breslev said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is receiving glory, pleasure from the smallest, tiniest Jew that is just moving his peot from one side to the other. You just sit, you learn for a minute and your peot are moving from one place to the other and HaKadosh Baruch Hu receives pleasure. It's glory for Hashem Yitbarach and you don't do anything. Your peot might move because you wanted to take another beer from the fridge. You don't know. But your HaKadosh Baruch Hu receives the pleasure. You were tzitzit, you say Shema, you believe in Hashem. I once asked my rabbi, Rav Shalom Arush, I asked him, if a person believes that mitzvah is right, that you need to keep that mitzvah, and he's not keeping that mitzvah. Let's say I believe that to say Kriyat Shema is the truth. I believe that I should keep Shabbat. But let's say that I'm not saying Shema, I'm not keeping Shabbat, but I feel bad. I'm not talking about the tshuva now. I ask about the mitzvah itself. If I believe that a certain obligation is real, I need to keep that mitzvah. That's my faith. That's my belief. And I'm not doing it. I asked Harav, will I be rewarded on my belief, on my faith that mitzvah is... I'm not keeping it. You know that you're not allowed to drive in Shabbos, and in Shabbos you go into the car and you drive to a wild party, and in the morning you go to the beach, and you're smoking and you're hearing music, but you know that you're violating Shabbos. Will that person be rewarded on his faith in that mitzvah? That was the question that I asked Rav. Rav Shalom told me, on the mitzvah of faith, you receive a reward that is greater than the reward that you're going to receive on keeping the mitzvah. Means that that person going to be rewarded more on his faith than on keeping that mitzvah. And all of the world, what they're going to say, is the biggest sinner of them all. The world's going to say, what? He knows that he's sinning and he's doing it. For sure he's going to be punished. And Rav Shalom is saying to you, no, he's going to be rewarded. Vayamen b'Hashem, Avraham Avinu believed in Hashem. He haven't done anything. He just believed in Hashem. Vaychashveh lo litzedakah, and it counts for him as charity. And tzedakah, charity, tatzil mimavet. It saves life. Now you sit in your house, you believe that you need to keep Shabbat, and after that thought, you decide to turn on your television. 1 minute ago, you saved life. You saved a person from committing suicide somewhere in India, from jumping from the bridge. You don't believe. I understand. That's your problem, that you don't believe. Why? Because you need to see things with your sechel. No, I need to see. How can it be that I really believed in Hashem and now you're telling me? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. But you don't believe. Why? Because you need to see. So don't worry. You're going to go to 400 years into Egypt, to the exile, you and your children and your grandchildren, and they're going to be slaughtered over there, and you're going to suffer from the exile, torturing, death, rapes, and whatever, poverty, and slavery, and see you in 400 years, and then you're going to come back, and you're going to do tshuva, and you say, you were right, I'm sorry. That's what you're choosing when you choose not to follow the simplest way of serving Hashem Yitbarach. Tmimut u'pshitut. Just to close your eyes, to close your mouth, and to follow Hashem, b'tmimut. Okay, you don't have food. Now what, you're going to die? Say to Hashem Yitbarach, I'm hungry. You don't believe how fast the food going to come to your table. You can never imagine, think, no, Rabbi Zusha was different. I'm telling you, I have students in my class that had more miracles than Rabbi Zusha in his life. I'm telling you, me, myself, I think I had more miracles than Rabbi Zusha. And I'm not more righteous than him, just I needed more miracles, that's it. I'm telling you that every cat in the streets of Jerusalem got more miracles than you can imagine. He finds his food. He doesn't work. The Gemara is saying, I never saw a fox that is working, an animal that works, a wolf that works. No one got a profession. He's not a shoemaker. He's not a tailor. He's not a builder. He doesn't do anything. And every day the food is ready. They have tons of fish and meat and chicken and milk and dairy. Everything they need, they have. Go outside. Look what's going on. Bounty that you cannot do, and it's all in plastics. They don't need to wash. They don't nothing. You just come, you eat, you go to rest. Trees, shade. Oh, thank God. Just happy all day long, licking themselves hours and hours. Why? Because they're simple. They wake up in the morning and say, okay, where I'm going to find my meal. They're not you at night. What I'm going to do tomorrow? What I'm going to do? And next month and next year. Relax. The only reason why God made us to be so limited that you cannot drink without a cup, that you cannot walk without shoes, means you need to have also socks, and you need to change them once in a while, and you need to have tiles, and you need to have bathrooms, and you need to have toilet paper, and you need to have wet ones, and you need to have a sink, and a natla, and a mirror, and a door, and a lock, and a handle, and thousands of things. Every person, every day, every moment, without even thinking, he's using so many things. Why God made us to be like that? Because when you need something, you ask for that thing. If your cat is hungry, he's going to know how to make you aware to the fact that he's hungry. He's going to make his sounds. He's going to come to you. He's going to scratch the box, the closet. He's going to show. When your baby is hungry, he's screaming. He's hungry. You know he's hungry. The baby is hungry. There's no question that the baby is hungry. Why? Because he's drilling my ears for an hour, for half an hour, for 5 minutes. Okay, the baby is hungry. No doubt. Why? Because he knows how to ask. God made us to be so limited because He wants us to ask. Because He's giving to us more and more opportunities to learn that He is the one that is supplying everything. Just because that He wants to increase your faith means to bring you closer and closer, because in spirituality there are no limitations. There is no amount that you can achieve. You cannot make only $1 million an hour. In spirituality you can make so much more. There is no limits to spirit. There is no limits to air, to soul. Soul is beyond this world. The tiniest soul is greater than the wide world. The world is nothing. It's a piece of earth, piece of mud, piece of metal, piece of physicality that you can weight, that you can measure. But lev melachim le'en cheker. But the heart of a Jew, you cannot estimate, you cannot weight it, you cannot understand who you're dealing with. Who is that person that is standing in front of you? A holy soul that is coming from heaven, that got a link, a connection to the Creator, to the Almighty, to infinity, to endless. You know who is He. You know who that soul is. You know the depths of that soul, that spring that is revealing itself, and His wisdom and His ability to connect Himself through simple things. But only when you close your eyes from looking on this world, because this world, even if you choose to use this world in purity, in the most holiest way of them all, it can mislead you. It can push you to mistakes, to think, yes, I achieved a lot. You don't have anything. In that moment that you think that you got something, in that moment you need to throw your wisdom. Shlomo HaMelech could say to Hashem Yitbarach, David HaMelech could say to Hashem Yitbarach, we don't know anything, we don't understand. Moshe Rabbeinu could say to Hashem Yitbarach, V'anachnu ma, we're nothing. Be'emot hayiti imach, I'm like an animal, I'm following you, you're my leader, you're my shepherd, I'm just following you. I don't understand, I'm not trying to understand. Amarti echkema, Shlomo HaMelech is saying, v'yechoka. In the moment that I said, hey, I'm going to get wiser, in that moment I realized how far it is from me. When you try to learn the Torah is wider than the sea. You make one move and then you see, oh, it's so huge. Rechava miniyam, it's wider than the sea. There is no rechava me'eretz midah, no measure, no size to that land. Eretz Atzvi, a land that is growing and expanding. Moshe Rabbeinu is taking all of Am Yisrael and bringing millions of people into Dalet Amot, into 4 Amot. People, millions of people are standing between 2 pillars. How can it be? It can be. When you believe, that's it. Only when you believe. When you believe, you can have miracles. When you don't believe, miracles will not gonna fix your mind. Miracles that you're gonna see will not gonna help you to heal your soul. Tomorrow when you're gonna stand in a test, those miracles will not gonna back you up, will not gonna save you, will not gonna help you to stand in the next test tomorrow. Only the fact that you were standing already in tests and you haven't gave up to darkness and you said, Hashem is with me, I don't care, I couldn't care less what the results, what I can see. I'm not judging things with my eyes. I'm not trying to estimate things with my brain, with my wisdom. I'm just counting on Hashem that it's all for the best, it's all for the good. Only that is the power that's going to give you the ability to deal with the next tests, with the tests of tomorrow, with the tests of 1 year from now. Things that you can never imagine that can happen to a person. And I'm not necessarily say bad. The test of a rich person to deal with wealth, with success, can be greater and harder than the test of a poor person. You can find yourself with millions and being arrogant about it, and then what? And then you lost all of your real wealth, all of the holy wealth. And you're just a cheap old person stuck with tons of money and maybe even going to be written as a rasha, evil. Holding so much money, can save so many people's life and can't spend that money, can't give that money to the poor. You know how evil that person is? No one can understand it. No, I have $300 million. You have 300 families that their blood is poured on the ground and their name is written on your hands. Yedechem damim aleu. What do you have to do with $300 million, $500, $700 million? What are you doing with that? Okay, you have that money, great. And now what you're doing with it? No, it's my money. Oh, great. It's your blood also. All of those tears, all of those screamings, all of those nights without sleeping of people that been kicked out from their houses. What are you doing with your Meiser money? You know how hard it is for rich people to give Meiser? 10% of $100,000, you know how much it is? How hard it is to give it to charity? $1 million a month income? $200 million a year income? You know how hard it is to give Meiser from those amounts? But those people are actually in charge on the wealth of Am Yisrael, on the success of Am Yisrael, on the life of those poor people. They're in charge to give their Meiser, to give their charity, to give their tzedakah money to those souls. They're the ones that are in charge of those souls, and if those souls are going to stay poor, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to demand the blood from your hands, from the hands of those rich people that were not giving damim, the blood, the damim, the money for charity. If you had that blood in your hand, you had those damim, you had the money, those spirits, those souls. You had the ability to give. You had the ability to revive those souls, to give them life with your charity. Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. If you would give just your meiser money, you would save thousands of souls during your life. But it was a test for you, and you were not standing in those tests. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to ask that blood from your hands. So a person can be just a regular, normal, cheap. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to call him, Kamtzan. Kamtzan! Chazak u'baruch. Thank you very much.